So before I go any further or even talk about this, and in a completely different setting, you can see all the hats. It's kind of cool, actually. You got the LA, Kansas City, Tampa, Brooklyn Cyclones, and other things. But yeah, just so everyone is aware, just so everyone is aware of what's going on, I am not in South Florida at this moment. I am actually up north of Florida in the central region. Yes, I am in Central Florida as of right now for the next few days. And there's a reason why. If that doesn't give it away, I don't know what will. But we're going to talk about the game from last night, and this is not going to take too long because it's only going to be like a couple of things. One, Jeremy Swayman is back to the way he was against Toronto. And B, the Florida Panthers' lacklusting effort is just a concerning thing for the next game on Friday. So, it's Sergei Bobrovsky going up against Jeremy Swayman as Boston is in desperation for a win to keep their season alive. And they did keep their season alive, as the first goal of the game was like Verhaeghe, you just can't defend right there. Morgan Geekie gets the first goal of the game for Boston, right? He was assisted by McAvoy, which is his fifth assist, and DeBrus, that's also his fifth assist, both in the playoffs. His fourth goal of the postseason is a backhand. He does a little shaky thing, so Bobrovsky can't do anything about it. Then Coyle after that gets called for a hook against Ekblad, and the power play was okay. It was somewhat useless. Montour gets a wrist shot that was saved by Swayman. And Boston, throughout these games, Florida is able to hold Boston just under 20 shots per goal per game. They average about 16 to 17 shots on goal throughout the playoffs in the game alone. In the first period, Boston shot 16 shots on goal. If my estimation is correct, 16. That's more, or that ties to what they shot normally in a typical game. So Florida's defense was not great. They allowed, and Florida's offense was nowhere to be found. Now, the next penalty, Morgan Geekie gets called for cross on Lundell. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to power play, right? Referees somehow see Anton Lundell embellish. Are you joking me? You call that embellishment? How is it possible that he gets pushed down the ground, can't do anything about it, all the momentum's going to the ground anyway, and you see that as an embellishment? That's like saying you get punched in the face and you bleed, and that's an embellishment. Ridiculous, these referees. Anyway, 4-on-4, both Boston had the upper hand, and the penalties were both killed off. Then we go to the second period, being down 1-0. ESPN and everything else is trying to be behind Boston's back, and Marchand not being in the game, Sam Bennett being public enemy number one in Boston. Yes, I know that's a cliche at this moment, but considering they have to go back up to Boston, their opportunity is to rip us apart, beat us down, and get us into the sidelines, into hospitals. That is what their goal is. Anyway, so in the second period, Florida finally trying to get something going, but there was a mental error by Carter Verhaeghe, closing in on puck, penalty. Boston goes on a power play. They get 1 or 2 shots on goal, which was Remdisk, but that was saved by Bobrovsky. There was a shorthanded chance by Kevin Stenlund, but that was saved by Swayman. And then Lahiri gets a snapshot in, but that was saved by Bobrovsky as well. Those are nice saves there by Bobrovsky. Then a few minutes later after that, we would get a goal. It's Sam Reinhart with his 5th goal of the postseason. We tie this thing up 1-1. This is literally after the TV timeout when Paul Maurice just using his profanity language on his players, sort of like that Toronto game last season. Remember last season where they were in Toronto, they needed to get this playoff push before our season completely comes to a close? This is somewhat similar, and Florida responds to it perfectly. It's Reinhart's getting it done. But then a few minutes later, McAvoy gets his first finally gets his first goal of the postseason. He's assisted by Trent Fettrick. That's his second goal of the postseason. And Charlie Coyle's fourth assist of the postseason. Off the wrist shot, it's Charlie McAvoy with his first goal of the postseason. Was it clean, though? So last game. Let's recap last game real quick. Sam Bennett scores this goal. Jim Montgomery challenges for a goaltending interference. The goal stands. They see that as not enough contact from Bennett as was it Coyle or was it McAvoy's? Player was momentous going down anyway, so it's not a goaltending interference. But looking back at it, maybe that was goaltending interference. So that's why last game I was being honest and fair, saying this may be controversial. And I jokingly said Toronto still hurts the fact that Boston has beaten them in 7 games. I was joking on that. But apparently, Toronto doesn't even know what goaltending interference even is. They don't. They just don't. Because Paul Maurice challenged this as well. You can probably see, okay, one angle looks like he's out of the crease, but then when you look at the stick and the right pad of Bobrovsky's, right, you can see that was still in the blue crease, and they didn't see it apparently. Their explanation is probably like, oh, because Bobrovsky's momentum was going to shift left anyway. He had the opportunity to save. What? You're tricking me. So this is why I'm not going to lose my marbles on this one, because we kind of got away with the last game, in all honesty. So I guess this is fair game, but that changes everything from this game forward, because for the rest of the game it would remain 2-1 because Florida's lackluster offense and fire was just gone. And then they go on a power play after that for delayed game because we lost that challenge. And then 1 second after the penalty was going to be killed off. Well, actually, there would be some shorthanded chance, both Serena and Ekblad, but they were saved, and Reinhardt too. They were both saved by Swayman. And then Lerai gets called for a hook on Los Rand. It would be a Florida power play with 1 second of 4-on-4. And Florida's power play, they only had one shot on goal. In all fairness with Reinhardt, he was close to tying this thing up, but it hit the crossbar. That would have been 2-2, but it hit the crossbar. And then there would be 1 or 2 shorthanded chances after that. But either way, that'll be killed off as Boston was just trying to get 3-1 in. But Bobrovsky, as good goalie as he is, the offense is just letting him down. So now we go to the third period. Nobody scores at this one. Florida's just nowhere. McAvoy gets called for roughing on Sam Bennett. Florida goes on the power play. They get 1 shot on goal, power play. Actually, 2 shots on goal, but power play is killed off. And then there will be some more shorthanded chance, then offensive chance. There's more shorthanded chance for Boston. What are we doing? What are we doing? They're playing like they have a job to do. They're not afraid of the Florida Panthers, but somehow Florida's afraid of Boston. Come on. That's ludicrous. So, long story short, penalties killed off. Then Ekblad, with the stupid penalty on Pastrnak, gets called for slashing. And I will say this too. As much as I love this guy, he's a liability. I'm sorry. He's becoming a liability for the Florida Panthers. He keeps constantly making mistakes in the clutch scenarios. Is he mentally prepared? He should be, because he keeps going back to the playoffs 5th straight seasons and 3 straight years making a deep run. I mean, this is ludicrous. Anyway, Boston goes on a power play. They get 1 shot on goal, which was Morgan Geekie. That was saved by Bobrovsky. Great save there. And then penalty on Boston, which would be too many men on ice. That will be served by Morgan Geekie. Initially, I thought there was a tripping call, which would have been an accurate call anyway. But considering there was too many men on ice first, Florida still gets a power play. Personally, I would have loved to see a 5-on-3. I would love to see a 5-on-3. But you have to call one. You have to call one the way how the referee sees it, as they saw there was too many men on ice first. But there was also a tripping penalty, and that's what I thought they were going to call first. Either way, Either way, they're going to get this power play. Florida's power play, they get Matthew Tkachuk with the tip-in saved by Swayman. Well, that's it. That's it on this power play. They keep missing the net, and the power play will be killed off. By this point, Boston's looking like a better team. And by this point, they have to go empty net. They call a timeout. Reinhart is just missing the mark on the net. You know the offense is just not there when Reinhart's missing the wide open net. It's just bad. And they were not able to tie this game up. And Boston survives this one just barely as they win this one 2-1 over Florida at Sunrise. Now we have to play in Boston Game 6 to try to finish them off up there on Friday night. So who knows? That's what I'm kind of afraid of. You know what I mean? With what happened, what we did to them last season, they were up 3-1 and then we came back and beat them. We cannot fall into that trap. Anyway, when we look at the team stats, Florida, with all the momentum and all the pushes and everything from the first period, they still have one more shot on goal, which was 29. They have 28. They have 40 hits. We have 32 hits. We have more face-off wins. We have 4 power play opportunities. We capitalize none. They have 3 power play opportunities, but they capitalize none. Boston has 21 block shots. Florida has 11. 8 takeaways for Florida, 3 takeaways for Boston, 17 giveaways for Florida, and 11 giveaways for Boston. And stars of the game, no surprise there, but Charlie McAvoy with 1 star, 2 stars is Jeremy Swayman, and 3 stars. They give it to Sergei Bobrovsky, which I can accept that. I mean, he was with 2 hiccups. One of them wasn't even his fault. I personally think he was interfered, but fair game, Boston. That's all I could say. Well, we have to go to Boston on Friday nights for Game 6, and if we can't win that one, then yeah, there could be some panic as they have to come back to Sunrise and try to finish them on that Sunday. I hope it doesn't come down to it. We'll see what happens. So anyway, there you go, guys. That's good to do for this one. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, or content because Miami TVG gets back. And when he does, have it right there with the entertainment you deserve. This is Miami TVG. Sign out, folks. Good night, everybody.